Amazing. It's absolutely amazing. But under the right circumstances, a producer could make more money with a flop than he could with a hit. Yes, it's quite possible.
Welcome to the NFC East Show, the only show keeping the NFC East honest. Williams, how are you doing?
Better than ever. Feeling great.
So long yet again since the last time we spoke. Really excited to get into the last of the ALL-2000s team with you. The only players we haven't talked about are quarterbacks, halfbacks, and tight ends. I think we agreed we were going to pick one quarterback, two halfbacks, so a bell cow and a third down back, and then one tight end. And for fun, to close it out, we're going to do backup quarterbacks, but not the second best quarterback, the best QB2 on the depth chart of the teams. We good?
Yes.
You got it?
Yes.
All right, come along with us, audience, on the last ALL-2000s team episode. Where do we want to start? I feel like tight end is probably a good place to start. Let's work from tight end and let's close with quarterback, because I think quarterback has a chance to be a very contentious
We'll see.
I don't know.
If you
tight
made
end.
the right choice.
Tight end, I had to go Jason Witten.
Yeah. This is up there with like Champ Bailey and Brian Dawkins. It's like literally, what are you doing if you don't pick this guy?
Jason Witten was playing 2 years ago in the NFL.
Yes.
Like, the man is like Iron Man, like very productive. Like, man, what a player. I hate that he was on the Cowboys, but I can't deny him the spot. What's interesting though is like, and I want to get into this, is like he was the best of also a very competitive crop of tight ends in this division. I want to put some respect on some other tight ends names before we move to the next group. But I think that also says how good Jason Witten was, that he's this obviously the consensus between the both of us above any other player in this division.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's especially close despite the competition. I think Witten, I just think we know too well, like how many times did Witten hurt our teams on 3rd and 7 and stuff? Like it was endless. He was the reliable workhorse for nearly 20 years for the Cowboys. Like he's one of the best tight ends ever, even if I think he's not like, even if his peak is not like a top 5 tight end peak or however you want to think about it, I think his career and his longevity speak for themselves.
Yeah, 100%. The other tight ends I'm referencing that I also had on my list, I think the Eagles tight ends during this period of time deserve a little bit of a shout out. Andy Reid always got production out of them. I had Selleck and Chad Lewis as potential picks. I think same goes for the Giants. I thought their offense was very tight end dependent at times, and I thought Kevin Boss and Jeremy Shockey both deserve a bit of a shout out in this category.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
Maybe people forget, I'm sure Washington fans don't forget, but Chris Cooley, like one of the best receiving tight end threats in the 2000s. But he just wasn't Jason Witten, you know, like he just wasn't.
How are you going to disrespect Chad Lewis like this?
Really hard, man. He iced the NFC Championship game. He sent us to the Super Bowl.
He was Chad Lewis was unironically good. I'm not trying to like meme Chad. That's how deep I think the tight ends were in the 2000s for this division. And I think, I guess maybe I'm projecting my Giants bias. It feels like the 2010s are relatively weak in comparison, but that might not be true.
I mean, I also just think the tight end position has changed a lot since the 2000s, you know?
Yeah, like, that's also true.
Like, I think how we judge the position changed. Like, I feel like these guys are like, maybe Chris Cooley is more like a bridge player to like the more like H-backy style, like athletic tight end mold that we've seen over the past 10 to 15 years. But these guys were all like legitimately could be an undersized tackle, but also like ran stick routes and gained like 8 other teams lunch on third down and 8 habitually.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like huge guys, nimble, but could run routes, catch the ball, like really just prototypical classic tight ends from this division during the 2000s. And Witten, in my opinion, was head and shoulders above the rest.
Yeah, just super reliable, could catch anything, pretty good blocker. Cowboys fans would probably argue very good blocker. He never really had burners, but you don't need a fast tight end anyway. This is the whole Evan Ingram mistake. I didn't mean to shoehorn this in.
We can't talk about tight ends for 5 goddamn minutes without you talking about Evan Ingram.
It's just like the platonic, the ideal of a tight end, and then just disregarding those aspects because you're intrigued by other aspects that don't actually matter. Jason Witten had everything that you actually need in a tight end.
Love that you are making the case for Jason Witten using your hatred of Evan Ingram.
It's a study in contrasts.
I get it.
One really good, the other one not. I don't mean to pile on. It's just comes to mind as relevant.
All right. So we agree there. Let's build the tension a bit. I actually thought running back was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be going into it.
Yeah,
I think in my head I thought running backs in this division were better, but they really weren't.
I think that there's I agree, kind of. I think that the running backs in this division were good, but not. It's just kind of that running back dilemma where the longevity is not amazing all the time, and none of them are Adrian Peterson tier, dominant. You know.
I guess put it to you like this. We already talked about the wide receivers. I expect my offense to be wide receiver dominant, and I really just expect my halfback to produce and be like a multi-dimensional option, Do you want to I hope we agree on third down back, but do you want to go with that one first?
I'm a little confused with my third down. I didn't know, because for me, I would like to hear who you pick because I wasn't sure.
So for my halfback 2, I picked Brian Westbrook.
Okay, it's your third down back.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I wasn't. I was like, is this kind of like the QB situation where he could never have been the starter?
No.
It's
not like you're picking Terrell Buckholter. You could pick the HB1, but make him.
Okay. Well, we don't agree, but only because. Brian Westbrook is better than this guy, but given what I need on my team, I'm trying to be strategic. I'm going to pick Marion Barber the third as my third down back because he's one of the hardest runners I watched. Dude just hit like a truck, and I think he gives that change of pace, physicality that I'm looking for.
Marion Barber was my honorable mention.
Nice.
Running back category, meaning someone I didn't pick but would have picked if I had more spots. I respect.
You thought about it.
I thought about it very hard, and I agree with you on what you're saying. I just wanted that. I wanted Brian Westbrook.
Brian Westbrook, much better running back than Marion Barber, but I think given who I have as my day-to-day running back, Barber offers more of a contrast, a little more flexibility.
So who's your HB1?
Another Barber, Tiki Barber, baby.
Oh, there it is. The double Barber. You did the double Barber. The
Tiki Barber, no relation.
Oh, man.
So to me, Tiki Barber and Brian Westbrook are very kind of similar players in that they're guys who can really catch out of the backfield and do a lot with it. Both of them are more explosive laterally and with shiftiness than they are as straight line runners, although they're certainly quick. They're not crazy fast or anything. And Tiki just gives me, he can catch the ball. I'm assuming that my version of Tiki is over his fumbling issue. One of the most prolific backs of the early to mid 2000s statistically. He put up stupid numbers behind the Giants line. And I think, is just a nice, reliable pick. And again, a good contrast when I sub him out. I just put in Marion Barber to hurt people. So there you have it.
Yeah. He was mine too. I picked Tiki Barber.
There you go. Okay.
I mean, you made me kind of doubt it by comparing Brian Westbrook and Tiki Barber, and I agree. I think where I disagree, and I still see the contrast, is I think Tiki's got a little bit more of like the, not that I think that these guys are actually comparable, but kind of like the Doug Martin muscle hamster thing going on, where I think that he can like lower his shoulder a bit and pick up in like a Marion Barber way, pick up the tougher inside yards, whereas Brian Westbrook like can't. Like Brian Westbrook needs that like offensive line chauffeur in like short yardage situations, So I really wanted Brian Westbrook's athleticism on the outside in the passing game, especially since I do anticipate this to be like a pass heavy offense. And I think I'm just trusting Tiki's ability to be workable inside between the tackles, despite his size and figure in a way that Brian can't,
Yeah. Tiki certainly is a bell cow back. He got a ton of carries later in his career too, of all things. Like you could argue his last year is one of his best ones. He had over 2,000 total yards from scrimmage. God knows how many touches. It looks like at least 400, close to it. Like the dude can definitely handle the ball, was never really hurt. Could get you some tough yards, I think, just kind of slipping between stuff. So I hear you.
Yeah.
You're just what you really want to do is run 25 Andy Reid bubble screens a game.
Yes, I do.
That's your actual. You're literally never going to hand the ball off. It's going to be passes to your vaunted receiving core. And
my quarterback's going to pass 50 a game. That's what's going to happen.
Right. His arm's going to fall off. That's why you need a durable quarterback back there. Very durable quarterback.
I hate you so much.
All right.
You're teasing it already. But it sounded like we roughly agree on the triumvirate of Marion Barber, Tiki Barber, and Brian Westbrook probably being the consensus top three. Just you.
Yeah, I did.
You went with Marion as opposed to B West.
Yeah, I also shout out to Clinton Portis, who
that is also yes. Yeah. I do think Clinton needs to be shouted out.
I just think Clinton. You look at the numbers. He's kind of just a volume guy a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Again, it's so hard with some of these Washington players because you're like, were you just on a terrible team? But Portis, to me, great running back, but not on the level of Tiki when it comes to his versatility or what he could do. So
100%.
I stand by it. But
did you give any thought to Emmett Smith at all?
No, not for a second, honestly.
Even though you gave other players they did most.
Do not compare.
In the 90s.
Do not compare Larry Allen to Emmett Smith. Emmett Smith in the 2000s was a husk of a man. Larry Allen was still very credible and a multi-time Pro Bowler.
All right, I just
don't try to pull this with me.
I'm just trying to highlight your logic against you, man.
I don't use logic. I'm like drunken master style.
All right. I know what you're gonna say. I know what I'm gonna say for QB1.
You first.
I went with Donovan McNabb.
So did I.
No, you what?
I went with the bait and switch, baby. I went with Donovan McNabb.
Wow. So we agree, man. All right.
Yeah, we agree.
I thought I would have put so much money down you picking Eli Manning. I wanted to finally settle this once and for all with you.
No, because Eli, if I can explain why I didn't pick Eli for a second. Obviously, I'm a big Eli guy. People should know this by now. But it's the 2000s team, and Eli's best year is in 2011, and what are you laughing at?
Just laughing. Such a technicality.
It is a technicality. Like,
Eli was the same player in the.
No.
Yes, he was.
No. Peak Eli is like 08 through like 15, I would argue. But like, there's just not enough actual evidence to support Eli in the 2000s when he was surrounded by an outstanding offensive line, good receivers, reliable defense by and large, and a good run game. Like, Eli, up until '08, is like a system quarterback who handed the ball off a lot and had a good deep ball. And then after that really develops in other ways, I would argue. But McNabb, led a team to what? 4 NFC championship games, 1 Super Bowl, really, really versatile and an underrated runner, I think, in retrospect. Dude was so mobile and dangerous. My one issue with having McNabb on this team is that he's not that accurate. Just puts a lot of balls in the dirt.
I actually thought he was a bit of an overrated runner. It's interesting that we disagree on that.
No, maybe it's because we had 2 different experiences with him. I remember him being not like Vic level, but like very elusive and dangerous.
At McNabb's,
when the pocket broke down.
Yeah, at McNabb's most lethal, or at least how he was perceived, especially league wide in the early 2000s. I felt he had like this like 1B reputation to Michael Vick that I thought was entirely undeserved. Like I thought he was mobile, but like he's as mobile as like Carson Wentz is mobile. You know what I mean?
No,
like
he's more mobile than Carson Wentz.
No way, dude.
Yes, he is.
No way. And he only got worse as he got older.
I mean, it's true that, he got older, but once again,
it was a part of it.
We're talking 2000s.
This is my like tortured, I expected more out of Donovan McNabb's career, Eagles fan voice coming out, right?
This is such a Philly fan take right here.
Where I look at Donovan McNabb and I constantly think what could have been post 2005. I think that almost to your point, he tried to develop as a pocket passer and honed his entire game around that, but never quite had the accuracy to be that guy. You know what I mean? And like, I'm not talking myself out of it. He's clearly the best quarterback of the 3. I'm just getting mad that you like him this much.
I don't. I mean, if we're gonna be honest,
I'm getting mad that you agree with me. I wanted to fight with you, and now I feel like I need to be the devil's advocate because I don't feel like he was that good.
I just did that jujitsu.
Yeah, you're making me so uncomfortable right now, man. Why are you putting me in this position?
I'm sorry. We're gonna have to dispatch Tony Romo after this to get us back on the same thing. I mean, look, McNabb has issues, but I think it's honestly not the best competition,
Yeah. I mean, so do we agree, like, the 3 in discussion were Donovan, Eli, and Romo, right?
Correct. That's the only 3 I had on my list, yeah.
Yeah, and to me, I think Donovan, especially that 3 to 4 year run in the early 2000s, just puts him head and shoulders above the other 2.
Yeah.
Eli got a ring in the 2000s, but I think both of us agree that the ring he won was post 2000s. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Like he was on a team that won a ring in 2007, but
Eli
Eli
did his
Manning
job.
got closer to winning a ring in his own right after the 2000s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, for me, I even discounted Tony Romo off the bat. I thought it was only an Eli and Donovan conversation for this era. I think Tony didn't even come into his own in like all NFC East lore until like 2012 through like 2014. You know?
Yeah, I agree. I think Romo in the 2000s, if his career ended in 2010, would have been seen as like a big choker.
Yep.
Who couldn't get over the hump. This is what he is anyway. Let's be very clear. He never disproved that. Dude has won. How many playoff games has he won? 1, 2? Not a lot.
I'm with you.
Not to go too far down the Tony Romo rabbit hole. We know that there's a lot of devoted Cowboys fans who listen to this and who respect and trust our opinion about their fan because we bring such a level-headed perspective. It's funny because I think Washington gets off easiest on this.
Well, yeah, because we just don't care.
Right. I'm not threatened by them at all.
No, that's why I'm even impressed that you researched them enough to pick one of their offensive linemen.
Chris Samuels. I'm going to put together Chris Samuels' highlight video. I'm going to rehabilitate his legacy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So as much as I sounded like I disagree with my own pick, I think Donovan McNabb is clearly the best of this crop. But it's interesting now thinking about it, because I don't think that there was like maybe it's just comparing it to the dynastic quarterbacks we got in the NFL during this era, your Mannings, your Bradys, but there really wasn't that level of guy in this division. I think you can nitpick any of those three guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, all of these are tier 2 guys at best. None of them are in the Brady bid conversation. But I think that speaks a lot about the nature of NFC. I think part of why we're doing this is because 2000s NFC East football was like a kind of unique thing in that all the teams had it's almost like there was a consensus on like how to play football and what they were all looking for. And none of them were looking for like crazy pocket passer quarterbacks, like none of them. Not even the Giants who took Eli. I mean, Eli is like, to me, a deep ball, big arm guy who makes terrible decisions, 2000s version of Eli. Like that is NFC East football. It's like high risk, high reward, kind of chaotic. That's what I loved about it.
What a great note to end on. All right. So we have our teams. I'm gonna list them out for the listeners.
Should we do backup? Where we're gonna do our backup quarterback?
We are.
Okay.
We're gonna close to that.
Sorry.
I'm gonna list these out for the listeners. Take a look out for that. We'd love to hear which one you think wins. I think also Williams. I think we want to try and get these teams into Madden or something. Maybe we're in a sim or something. We'll see. But we
Madden
gotta
06, baby.
we got to figure out which team is actually better. But there's really. I don't want to keep arguing with him about it. We already did that for 4 episodes. It's really in the fan and Madden's hands now to figure out which team's actually better. But such a fun offseason. I think to close out, like Sean kind of hinted at, we did joke earlier in the series. Let's also pick best backup quarterbacks. And I don't mean Eli Manning is my backup to Donovan McNabb. I mean best QB2 on the roster across all the teams when they were QB2s. I have mine. Do you want to think about it?
I've got mine.
I went with 2007 Jeff Garcia on the Eagles. And really the only reason why I had this idea is because I wanted to say that.
Jeff Garcia, man. I hate Jeff Garcia.
What a year. What a playoff run. That was the most fun I had with the Eagles post NFC Championship Super Bowl era. That was such a blast. Jeff Garcia, baby. He's my baby. Love that man.
They beat the Giants in the wild card game by 3 points. I watched it at my best friend's house. One of the worst days of my life. Hate Jeff Garcia. Always have, because he also, in 2002, along with Terrell Owens, came from behind by a lot and beat the Giants in the playoffs. They cooked Jason Sehorn alive. So I have a lot of Jeff Garcia trauma, and he was never going to be my pick.
Did you just black him out? It sounded like you even forgot that year existed when I said his name. There was like a moment from you. There was like, oh yeah, Jeff Garcia. I forgot he was even a backup quarterback.
My eyes like grew cold. Like honestly, it's because I thought that you would. I thought you'd go with more of like a meme.
I got honorable mentions. I
went full meme. Can we also talk? This is more like off. I'm sorry if I'm going to make you edit something.
No.
Like, did I dream this, or did Terrell Owens insinuate or declare publicly that Jeff Garcia was gay? And this was like a big thing in like the early 2000s.
I don't remember whether it was Terrell Owens, but I do have a very
It's like
vivid memory of Garcia being like outed, but then like he had to come out and deny it.
Right, which is first of all, it's fucked up.
You're right.
Extremely homophobic.
I don't think it was Jeff Garcia though.
You don't think it was Jeff Garcia?
No. I don't think it was Terrell Owens.
Oh, it might not have been Terrell. I'm not sure.
Oh no, you're right. It was Terrell Owens.
Dude,
wait,
you're gonna put.
Hold on. This is hilarious. Hold on. I don't know whether it was like Owens started it. It might have been like in the air, but I remember this happening.
Maybe.
Owens, when like after he was traded to Philly, Owens did a interview with Playboy, and Playboy asked whether he thought Jeff Garcia was gay. To which Terrell Owens responded, "If it looks like a rat and smells like a rat, by golly,
What the
it's
fuck?
a rat."
What the fuck? That's what he said?
Yep.
Dude.
2000,
That is-
the 2000s were a wild time.
Oh my God. Philly fans didn't love Terrell Owens? What?
Garcia called Owens' insinuations ridiculous and untrue.
It's just like, what? Oh my God. Just, Terrell Owens, what a piece of shit. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Man, I feel bad that like I'm now forcing Terrell Owens to be with the two quarterbacks he's spurned most on my team.
Well, also, how awkward was 2006? Wasn't Owens still on the team by then or no?
No, he was traded by 2006.
Okay. I was about to say, geez, is that? Okay.
No, Garcia was
Halfway to
2007, I think.
Oh, okay.
Or at least the playoff run was 2007. Because there was that awful Jeff McMahon year. Before
Jeff McMahon would be a good candidate. The Eagles have the best backup quarterbacks because McNabb would actually get hurt.
Yeah, he was. I mean, so my honorable mentions. I did not put AJ Feely in here, though I could have and should have.
I thought about Feely.
I went with Corey Detmer,
Classic.
Brad Johnson, Jared Lorenzen.
Jared Lorenzen is mine. That's fine. I had to. J-Lo, baby. Pillsbury throw boy.
And just for the memes, I also put Tony Romo in my
That's a good one.
Hey, no, I think he was a much better backup quarterback in the 2000s than he was a starter. When he was backing up Drew Bledsoe.
The Giants, I remember Tony Romo's first game because the Giants murdered Drew Bledsoe. Drew Bledsoe had 8 concussions before they finally pulled him out of that game. They had to drag him off the field by one ankle. And then Romo actually looked good. So
I think my favorite just Romo choking pastime, let's say. I think it was the year he took over where he was playing somewhat lights out at quarterback, got the Cowboys to the playoffs, but because he was the backup to start the year, he was still their placeholder on field goals. And he single-handedly lost the playoff game in Seattle by botching the hold on that kick. And
beloved memory.
I just it's just so funny to me that when he doesn't he had them in a position to win the game as a quarterback, but then choked on his other job.
The best part about it is he almost punched it in.
Yeah.
He was a yard away from recovering and actually taking it to the end zone. And I believe the Seahawks went to the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Against the Steelers.
That sounds right.
Matt Hasselbeck, Sean Alexander Seahawks. But, man, we could have a whole podcast roasting Tony Romo. I would do it in a heartbeat.
Just is there a better case for choke artist than won the game as a quarterback
Literal
but lost
butter,
it as a placeholder? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
That is
Something
an
about
artful level of choking,
Right. Well, especially because it's such a Charlie Brown thing to do is the ball slips through your hands. It's very, very memorable. And then the next year he would lose to the Giants when he threw a interception in the end zone to R.W. McQuarters. So dude was a choker, just how it is. Couldn't win.
What a note to end on. The series was so fun. I can't wait to do next offseason series, which we've already agreed is current NFC East players out of position in different positions.
Right. If anybody has any thoughts about where Levine Toilolo should play, Now's the time to start prepping for that conversation.
I think Dallas Goedert could be a good D end.
I kind of do too. I feel like I don't know.
Let's save it for next year. We got an actual season coming up, man. We got it. Stuff's happening.
Wait until I put
here.
Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is going to be my Swiss Army knife wide receiver running back. So get ready for that. His actual position.
Next time we put out an episode, it will probably be previewing the season and doing a little bit of a review of training camp. Looking forward to talking with you again, and I'm really looking forward to getting the season together. It's going to be fun this year, I think.
Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be a great time.
All right, man. I'll talk to you then.
All right. Take it easy, pal.
Yeah.